Hello everybody, welcome to Snyder's Inc. And today we have got that chapter. And this is when a killer's insane murder plot is discovered. We won't get right into it, ladies and gentlemen. Hit the like button, hit subscribe, and comment your thing down below. If you'd like to help me out with a donation, give a super thanks or a link to my PayPal's in the description below. Let's go.
Hey you, and welcome. My name is Mike, and in this old video, a car was found just off the road. This was near Nashville, Tennessee. Inside the car was two people. And they'd seen better days, let me tell you. Well, see, it would later be determined that those two people had been demanding money from a wealthy Texan. The wealthy Texan did not take too kindly to this, and so he hired ex-Special Forces lads. And well, a plot, a conspiracy, spun out from there. Before we get into it, please click that little ass subscribe button to see new videos every single week. Now, let's give it a go. The date was March 12th, 2020. It was very early, very early in the morning. You know, the moon was still real big. On the outskirts of Nashville, Tennessee, a 911 call came in. This was at 495 Old Hickory Boulevard, southwest Nashville, a construction site at the time, and who knows, maybe it still is. A concerned caller had seen a car down an embankment off the side of the road at this construction site, and was concerned someone might be hurt, or even worse. He could see two people inside, and they weren't responding to him, asking if they were okay.
Metro Nashville 911. What is the address of your emergency?
Somebody drove off the road and hit a tree.
Are you with the vehicle?
There's two people there.
Okay.
They're pinned really bad. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, I'm sending the paramedics and the police department to help you now.
Soon, emergency services, police, EMTs, they arrived to that site to check on this car and see what was the story. Inside the car were two people, but in fact it looked like the people had been stuffed inside the car. They found an adult male and an adult female inside the vehicle. Both had passed. In fact, it seemed both had passed hours before they arrived to the scene. But the scene itself was bizarre. If this was some kind of freakish act of God car accident, it was the strangest they had ever seen. I mean, the EMTs were expecting them to be in the passenger seat, the driver's seat, as you would expect, but no. An adult male was in the front of the car, but stuffed down, his face touching the floor, his feet in the air. An adult female, the very same, only in the back seat of the car. This didn't look...
Bro, if you're gonna set up the murder scene and have it be like let's make it look like it was a car accident, at least fucking think about how you would set it up before you do it. Because clearly these two, the people who did it here, to set up this one, fucking idiots. Because they were just like, okay, how would you react if you're in the car seat? Well, you're gonna throw them down there, have his feet up in the air, and she's in the back seat because she'll go flying backwards when she crashes. Idiots. Fucking idiots. No wonder they were caught here.
look like a crash, and from where the car would be located, why would you even crash there? Why would you be here? No, it appeared from the start that they maybe had been killed somewhere else. You know, or they died somewhere else and been stuffed inside this car, then the car had been brought to this construction site, rolled down the embankment with such force that the airbags actually deployed. It was a staged scene. It seemed clear as day. The two bodies were soon identified as one Holly Williams, 33 years of age, and her estranged boyfriend, William Lanway, 36 years of age. William, he went by Bill, had in fact a history that was not that historic. Only a week before he was found dead, he had been arrested on charges of aggravated assault and false imprisonment for attacking Holly in a domestic violence incident. Holly had earlier obtained an order of protection against Bill, who had been arrested even before then, back in December.
Why are these two who don't want to be around each other killed with each other?
For punching her in the face. A violent man. One time Holly had even come home and found her beloved dog dead. She was sure Bill had done it. They had been, on again, off again relationship, but Bill always, it always ended with a fist punch to the noggin for Bill. But now the pair had been shot to death, it was determined. Both shot in the chest and shot in the head. As I said, Bill and Holly had been an on-again, off-again relationship for years, and even though Bill could be violent, they still somehow always ended up back together. I think that's what you call one of them abusive relationships. They both lived in Nashville and were from outside the city, but had moved to make it. Holly worked as a beautician in the city, Bill a car mechanic. Both well-liked, fun-loving, and they'd been seeing each other for about 2 years. William had, tragically, 9 years earlier, back in 2011, lost his beloved daughter to cancer, and so a lot of his relationships and his troubles had spun out from there. So how did I end up murder? Two people who had a very difficult past, it would be described as very toxic, but then ending up shot to death inside a car in a construction site. None of this made sense, and the first theory was, well, with this kind of relationship, a murder-suicide wasn't, out of the question. This had been building and building. Holly had put up cameras all over her place. She was so scared of Bill coming around and bringing his violence with him.
The only way I've been home on the department, knowing that you can disable my law. If there was any way I could just schedule an incident lock, and because the door lock wasn't changed, they would have come in and called me.
When the police began investigating the double homicide, murder, suicide, whatever it was, they even found footage on her cameras of Bill wandering around her apartment while she was out, looking for her. So all kind of, indications.
Yeah, everything would just seem murder, suicide, but obviously that's clearly not the case, right?
What you're looking at right here, but, Booty. There was definitely a lot of indications that that's not what happened. That Bill hadn't finally murdered Holly and then himself. That the relationship, which was a powder keg, finally exploded. That was the likely explanation in theory. But in practice, didn't add up. The last footage on Holly's camera showed both Bill and Holly leaving the place. I guess they were in the good times when this occurred. But what was this that occurred? What happened after this video? No gun was found at the scene. No phones, no items. It looked like the car had gotten there by other means, and the cameras in Holly's place showed a lot of other men showing up to her apartment, not long before, looking for her. In fact, looking through Holly's history, it seemed like she might have been involved in some shady shit. These guys were all dressed in black, certainly up to no good, and they even had tried removing her camera. At the same time, the cameras inside showed Holly shitting herself. She was terrified of whoever these guys were. She even barricaded the door at one point. She was scared of people. But would these people kill? Digging into Holly's background, they found that, her day job, beautician, doing your eyelashes or whatever. But at night, she moonlit as an escort, a high-end escort, under the name Layla Love. I'd like to begin by thanking you for your time and consideration. Your interest in me exemplifies that you enjoy the finer things in life and won't settle for anything less. It seems as if we already have some things in common. I'm much like a chameleon. I'm able to adapt to different social settings, whether it's a romantic night in, a night dancing around town, or a formal occasion. You can rest assured I will exude nothing but refinement, grace, and class. To add to my attributes, I have green, exotic, alluring eyes, full, irresistible lips, long dark locks, an hourglass figure, and a sweet, innocent smile that would melt even the coldest of hearts. As you gaze through my images, you can see that I reveal just enough to leave your imagination running wild. Well, I'll be damned. She'd been an escort since she was 18, 19. It earned her a hell of a lot of money. And it wasn't her dark little secret. She was pretty open about it. And fair play to her. She earned good money. She was open about it to her friends. Even to Bill, boyfriends. She was like, yeah. Get used to it. She did make a lot of money doing it. But, like anything, I guess, in that sort of industry, there can be some really shady people involved in it too. So had the chickens, come home to roost, so to speak, for Holly. Was her side hustle the reason Holly and Bill had been murdered? Nashville police put out images of these men in an attempt to find them. However, no one was calling to say who these lads were. Digitally, someone had been trying to get in touch with both Bill, Layla, and Holly. Holly used different phones when she was Layla, she did for regular old Holly. One number in particular had been trying to reach all three different phones. Now, what gave the police when they were looking through this kind of stuff a hunch that something might be up here was that the calls had been made from what's called a voice over IP phone number. That's when it's like essentially an online phone number. You can make a call via the internet. Now, it's pretty common. It's nothing really unusual or that strange about it. A lot of businesses use it. A lot of people use it. It's no big deal. But what gave the police a hunch that this could be something here is that these voice over IP phone numbers can often also be used for shady, nefarious purposes because it's very easy to hide your identity by using them. Was that what was happening right here? Well, let me tell you. The police subpoenaed for information behind that number and got an email address, jimmygreen34@gmail.com. But now who the hell is this? Researching that email, it only linked to a Pinger account, where that email address signed up using the name Agent 47, like the Hitman video game assassin guy. Suit, bald, big gun. So now we're getting somewhere, because this seems very much like, well done, Agent 47. That chick who always talks at the end of the mission.
Well done, 47.
They were able to get the IP address of the voice over internet phone number, which finally led to the real Jimmy Green 34. One Adam Carey. Adam Carey lived in North Carolina, a former Marine with Spec Ops training, and now, since leaving the military, he worked private security. So a real-life mercenary, a real-life guy who would know how to deal with people the old-fashioned way. But,
Craziness. I'm surprised a former Marine or whatever, most of Special Ops, Black Ops, whatever, would take a hit job. Like, I feel like they would have more nobleness to that, but I guess not.
Killing them. He had previously been arrested for impersonating a cop and carrying pipe bombs and other such devices. Handguns, rifles with suppressors, flashbangs, kinda like he was back in the good old days of the military. Like he was going to war. He ended up doing 4 months inside when he was arrested for impersonating a cop, and actually ended up getting in a shitload of stuff over the flashbangs and improvised, because it's kind of like probably not going to be up to much good with them. It also definitely seemed like Adam Carey was one of the guys that had rocked up to Holly's apartment.
He looked a little familiar. It looks similar.
And before I continue, please let me tell you.
No, I'm not gonna let you tell me, but JC, I want you to tell me about why these people clearly were murdered.
Who had been trying to contact them, and this guy's like an assassin, a mercenary. And then he spiderwebs out to other people, and this is when the conspiracy begins to show itself. Soon the police would find out that Adam Carey had been hired to observe, watch, intimidate Holly and Bill. He'd been hired by one Brian Brockway. Brian Brockway was
God, I don't like this picture of him. Jesus, he looks creepy and no, his eyes are just, he looks like he's wide-eyed and on some shit.
Former Marine, and also maybe he had been in some kind of special forces or something along those lines. See, officially he was only in the Marines and nothing else, but it turned out he also had done a lot of high-level government protection jobs, which I'm sure gotta be pretty damn good to do that kind of stuff. So Brian had hired Adam, and it seems like maybe the pair of them had been going around trying to intimidate Holly and Bill, showing up to her place. Seems like they were even trying to kidnap them. You got two guys with high level, up even above the screen, folks. Military sniper training, whatever, right? What do they want? With an abusive mechanic and an escort beautician. Soon they would be linked to another name, one Gilad Peled, an ex-Israeli Special Forces, Mossad, all that guy. So what the shit? This is going to high-level government conspiracy stuff. There's like all these like ex-Special Forces, freaking CIA people or whatever involved in this shit. This certainly was beyond the scope of.
Because what's hilarious is these three Special Ops, Black Ops, sniper trained military men did the single worst murder crime scene, accidental crash crime scene ever in history. Because the police immediately looked at that and went, yeah, this is staged. So
what anybody was expecting at all. From what detectives could gather was that both Brian and Adam had been in Nashville, Tennessee, watching Holly, and they were sending full reports, full military-style sit reps back to Austin, Texas, where Gilad Peled was located. Why were they watching, intimidating, and likely murdering Holly and Bill? Gilad, after leaving the military in Israel, worked private security for celebrities in Hollywood. He then moved to Austin, Texas, where he set up Spear Tip Security Group. The business kind of struggled at the start, not many clients in Texas. I guess Texans can protect themselves. But he did get one client.
We've saved our absolute best for last. You hurry to Charles Vaughn Toyota and get our best savings on our best selection of barely driven Toyotas.
A guy had homeless people all over his car lot, and he hired Spear Tip Security to start moving them along. That client was one Eric Mound, a well-known name, locally in the area. You know, his family had been in the car business for generations. The guy you're looking at, yeah, that's Charles Mound. It was his son, Eric Mound. But Eric's father still did all the ads. Eric Mound was the current operator of the business, and it was he who hired Gil Polled. Now, let's start tying all this together, because frankly, you're not going to believe this shit.
So, here's what I'm gonna guess. Eric hired Holly as an escort. Eric didn't pay Holly her money, and Holly demanded money because she's owed it. Eric, the weirdo, fucking gets so suddenly angry about this that he hires 3 fucking black ops people to watch her so they can kill her. And then the guy might be collateral. Little Bill.
Eric Mound, very successful car dealer in Austin, rich as all heck. He had a wife, 2 kids, the whole lot, and he had one son studying at the university in Nashville, Tennessee. So in early 2020, Eric, he's like, I'm gonna go visit my boy, up in Nashville, Tennessee. And so while there, you know, he's hanging out with his son and he's staying in a very fancy hotel in downtown Nashville. One time he's in his hotel room and he's like, it's bust o'clock. He starts going through the internet. He calls an escort from his lonely ass hotel room. The escort would turn out to be one Layla Love. They began texting, emailing, and they meet up. It happens, and it's over. Eric then goes back home to Texas. Not long after he gets back home, though, he starts getting texts, messages, all that sort of stuff. You know, someone was demanding money from him, 25 grand. Demanding 25 grand from Eric Mound, or else they threatened to expose, you know, the fact that he had used an escort, that he cheated on his wife in Nashville, and Eric, well-known figure in the local community, it would essentially destroy his reputation. So Eric, not a fan of that, of his little discretion becoming public, you know, he's like, damn, I'm being blackmailed, I'm being extorted over here. He goes to his new best friend, Gil Polled, who he hired as security. He's like, hey, listen, being extorted here. What should, you know, you work in security, what would you do in this situation? Gil is a man with bright ideas. Gil then got to work and contacted friends and associates in the private security industry, Brian Brockway and Adam Carey, to start finding out who was threatening Eric. So, it didn't take long to learn about Holly Williams and the real Layla Love. But do you know what else was the interesting thing? Holly wasn't the one extorting Eric. It was Bill. Bill had logged in, hacked into her accounts, found messages between the two, and he had been one. It's believed Holly didn't even know he was doing it. In fact, the last time Bill was arrested, it was a week before himself and Holly were murdered, which would have been directly after Eric and Holly hooked up. He was arrested for domestic abuse. Maybe he attacked Holly after learning she'd been with Eric. Maybe he wanted to get revenge on Holly and Eric also. Bill even called Eric one time, demanding money. I'm pretty sure this is a movie plot. It was at that point that...
So I was partially right. Partially right, then went wrong. I was partially right because I was like, okay, he hired Holly as an escort. Nailed that. What I didn't expect was that Bill, for some reason, decided he was going to put both their lives at risk, demanded money. What the fuck do you think was going to happen here? How did he think this is going to go?
Both Adam and Brian offered to murder both Bill and Holly for 60 grand apiece. Gil thought, well, that's a hell of an idea. Eric agreed. Then, one late night in March, Holly and Bill were seen leaving Holly's apartment. They walked straight into an ambush. They walked to the car, turned on the ignition, and then there were screams and gunshots. Weirdly, the neighbors didn't hear anything. The car was then driven by one of the hitmen to the construction site.
I never understand how that happens. How is there a rapid amount of gunshots, a rapid amount of fucking all chaos happening right next to you, and you go, just wasn't paying attention, didn't hear anything. Well, how the fuck do you not hear anything? Was everyone in the neighborhood just deep sleepers? What the fuck?
Site. Police used wiretaps and listening devices and were able to get confessions out of both Brian and Adam.
Some of the problems that we ran into last time is we had to take them at the same time, dude. She wound up still breathing. And, he finished it in the back seat. And he got my respect. I totally got my respect for that. Yeah, a lot of guys with females. Yeah, you'll probably.
So now that they needed to link it, officially back to Eric, and he kind of made it easy for him. He left a review. He left a review for SpearTip Security. SpearTip is very professional and on top of it. They get the job done in an expedited time. Couldn't imagine using anyone else. Brian Brockway also left a review. Adam, Brock, and Gillette were all arrested on the same day. However, they...
I know the actual fucking... This is the single most dumbest group of planned assassin and assassinators in history. How on earth did all four of you do the stupidest fucking things you could imagine in this?
They didn't know the extent of Eric's involvement. So what they did was basically said to Gillette, "You're going away for life, or maybe even death, with all the shit we have on you. We want you to call Eric and talk to him. Let's see what he knows. What does he know?"
We got a problem with one of the shooters in Nashville.
Uh-huh.
He found out that you were the client that paid for this, for the job.
Mm-hmm. I'll pay the guy $25,000, but I think it needs to go away after that.
So we need to take care of him.
He did a solid for me, and I appreciate it for that. But I just want to make sure it's, in 6 months down the road, he's not going to pop back up. Honestly,
Oh, Eric. Oh, Eric, I'm so glad all of you got arrested, even you. Because you are actually the fucking idiot of them all. My man, never trust a phone call. Just don't.
I think I'd rather take care of it permanently, and then I'll just run 150 through SpearTip, like we did last time.
The police were kind of on the fence as to Eric's, level of involvement. Maybe, just maybe, they thought, maybe he just wanted Gilad to deal with the extortion attempts, but not kill anyone, just, intimidate, make the problem go away. Maybe he wasn't responsible or involved in the murder at all. Well, this conversation put an end to that, as he was quite happy to have more people killed to end the issue.
Yep.
Eric was arrested immediately after that call.
Breaking news now at 5 o'clock.
He probably was like, I didn't do anything. What are you talking about? I was not even on a phone call. He's like, that wasn't even my voice. I had nothing to do with that. That was just someone else. You're faking my voice now.
Murder for hire scheme. Tonight we're learning more about the four men accused of kidnapping and killing a Nashville woman and her boyfriend.
Eric Charles Mond, he's the son of the group's founder, and he is indicted on charges of conspiracy to commit kidnapping and kidnapping resulting in death, along with a federal firearm charge. According to the U.S. Department of Justice, the plot started back in February of last year. Federal documents show that's when Mond reached out to his former girlfriend, Holly Williams, about seeing her during an upcoming trip to Nashville. But in March, investigators say Mond heard from another man, William Lanway, claiming to be in a relationship with Williams. They say he demanded money from Mond, saying that he would expose Mond's relationship with Williams if he didn't pay up. So in response, investigators believe Mond got together with three men, two of them from Austin, Gilad Peled and Byron Brockway. The third, Adam Carey, is from North Carolina. The Justice Department release says Mond withdrew money for Carey and Brockway to travel to Nashville to collect information and watch the couple. Now, according to the DOJ, Mond told them to do whatever it took to stop the extortion and sent several hundreds of thousands of dollars to Peled.
Investigators, following a money trail, learned that on the day of the murders, Eric Mound transferred to Gil Peled $150,000. After that, from March 11th till the end of the year, Eric transferred over $750,000 to Gilad Peled and the other guys. That's a lot of payments he was making. How many people did he have killed? None officially that we know of. Gil-Galad made a deal, pleaded guilty, and agreed to testify against the other three who were up. Eric's defense said that he had been duped into the murder plot. He was only looking for help, and instead he paid for a double murder, like accidentally. Mad stuff.
Come on! Yeah, just accidentally, I just accidentally paid for the murder. I didn't know. When I said take him out, I just meant take him out for dinner and explain to them why they couldn't be done. When I said put them out of the misery, I just said give them the money and put them out of the misery and they don't have to deal with them anymore. I never once with any of my words did I mean kill. I never said those words. I never said kill them, so I didn't, it was an accident. I didn't know that they were going to do it.
Ultimately, Eric Mound was found guilty of murder for hire with death. Brian Brockway and Adam Carey were convicted of murder for hire, as well as conspiracy to commit kidnapping and kidnapping with death resulting. All three are awaiting sentencing, but each faces a mandatory life sentence. Gilad Peled previously pleaded guilty to the same charges, but as he cooperated with the prosecution, the judge will take this into consideration when he is sentenced later this year, 2024. And Sinead, that is the end of this story, and it is wild. Wilder than any movie.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is it for this reaction video. Let me know what you think in the comments. This story is crazy. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all.